I was like
I've never felt like I was.
It didn't apply to get into
I came back
now I have to apply to get out.
They made me feel like I'm not British.
I was like a lamb to the slaughter. After he arrived back from a trip to Jamaica for his sister's funeral in 1998, immigration officials gave Ivan Anglin 48 hours to pack up 35 years of life in the UK and return to Heathrow to be deported. He only had time to say goodbye to one of his daughters. He was exiled for 20 years, missing the births of his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, and the death and funeral of his only son.
I've never felt like I was accepted by this system. A reggae musician who arrived in Bristol in 1968, aged 12, died from cancer about a month after finally winning his long, hard battle for citizenship. It was too late for him to travel back to Jamaica. This father of five told the BBC that he was unable to travel for fear of being denied re-entry back into the UK. So he never got his final wish for one last holiday, just to be free, before he died late last year.
I think we all need a personal apology. Valerie Baker arrived from Jamaica in 1955, age 4. She worked her whole adult life until chronic back problems forced early retirement. In April 2017, the Home Office told her she had no legal basis to remain in the UK, and if she didn't leave within 7 days, she could be deported. Further letters told Valerie her disability allowance had been stopped, and she needed to return overpayments of £33,590.
It's inhumane. Kenneth Williams arrived in Britain in 1969 on his sibling's passport. In 2015, the council, who he had been working for via an agency, refused direct employment without a passport. He was suspended on full pay, but told to leave. He had a mortgage and no access to benefits, so he had to rely on family and friends. He was then finally given a card confirming indefinite leave to remain in August 2017.
I am angry, but what can I do? Edward Bromfield was evicted by Haringey's council in 2018 because he was unable to prove he was living in the country legally, despite having arrived as a child 47 years earlier. When he was evicted, his clothes, possessions, and the gardening tools he used for work were destroyed. He slept in a friend's shed for 6 months and applied for the government's hardship fund, but was unsuccessful.
You can't put a price on missing your mother's funeral. Junior Green had lived in the UK since he was 5 months old. In 2017, he visited his dying mother in Jamaica, to where their parents had returned, but was refused readmission back to the UK. Eventually, he was granted a temporary visa, but the delay in getting this meant he missed his mother's funeral, which was being held back in the UK.
It was hell. British Airways staff blocked Hyacinth Naylor from boarding a plane home after a trip to Tobago, leaving her stranded there for 6 months, struggling to persuade officials that Britain was her home. The secretary had come to the UK from Jamaica in 1960, aged 10, but was forced into early retirement in 2013, unable to prove to employers that she was in the UK legally.
Our forefathers did a lot for this country. Gladstone Wilson arrived in Britain in 1968, aged 12, to join his father, who was a head teacher in the West Midlands. He worked as a hospital security guard, but lost his job when the Home Office classified him as an illegal immigrant. He faced financial hardships and he missed his mother's funeral in Jamaica because he could not get a passport.
I didn't apply to get into this mess, but now I have to apply to get out of it. Winston Robinson arrived from Jamaica aged 9 in 1966. He was sacked from his job as an ambulance driver in 2016 because he had no passport. The Home Office wrote to him saying, "According to our records, you have no lawful basis to be in the UK. You should take steps to leave the UK immediately." When he lost his job, Winston was told he was not eligible for benefit payments. He became homeless when he couldn't pay his rent.
They made me feel like I'm not British. One of the most vocal Windrush campaigners, Sarah O'Connor, died in September 2018. Officials mistakenly classified her as being in the country illegally, unable to work and not eligible for benefits. She had to sell her car and her clothes. The scandal reminded her of the racism that she faced in the 1970s. It feels like it has become a hostile country again.